Hey guys, I'm your host, David Powell, and you're listening to Curiosity Veg Radio. Hey guys, and welcome back. Hope you liked the new intro. Shortened it up a little bit, and for those who are new, maybe this is the first intro you've heard. Just a reminder that Curiosity Veg is a movement which will open a dialogue between vegan, vegetarian, plant-based, and non-plant-based people alike in an effort to help educate and open the hearts and minds of others. Because as we always say, we educate, not intimidate. Oh yeah. Gonna kind of keep things kind of short. At the beginning, we've had some feedback, and that's what people tend to like. And so it's been a bit. Haven't really talked to y'all in a while. Had a bit of a coming soon episode that came out. Let everybody prepare themselves. But this is actually episode 32, a full-on episode. A lot has happened in my life. Lots been going on. Kind of put things in hiatus. Moved, relationship, that sort of thing is kind of come into play. And something else that's happened is what this episode is about, actually. Starting a tattoo. Actually starting a sleeve. I'll put a picture in the show notes of how things are looking so far, but it's essentially a space science sleeve. What we got going on now is kind of this DNA in the forearm, the inner forearm, with some kind of mountain ranges and trees reflection and moon, stars, and things like that. It's going to go up into some planets and incorporate Voyager 1, and it could be a whole sleeve of just straight space and science. The sleeve I'm going to work on will be animal rights at the top. Bottom is kind of geeky, fun stuff. So yeah, that's probably what I want to talk about a little bit is the journey of that. Start kind of like a get back from the break with a little fun one, talking about vegan tattoos. I think I've found that kind of having a tattoo, being tatted up, it kind of almost goes along with the culture sometimes. And I met people who I've asked them, it's like, oh, was that tattoo vegan? They had no clue. So I think it's important for us to recognize that, in all aspects of our life, we need to, again, it's striving to not exploit animals and to basically respect our animal friends where applicable. And of course, vegan tattoos don't fall short of that. That's something that you choose. That's something you should also make sure you're following a vegan process to do. My experience, kind of talk about, I'm sure all of you, I would love to hear your experiences getting your tattoos and how your artist was. Send me your pictures. If you have your vegan tattoos, send them to me at curiosity@gmail.com. Mine was great. I went into the shop and I told him, hey, here's what I want. First off, I hunted for my artist for about 3 months. Found him. It's a local shop over here called Mystic Owl Tattoo near me. Found a great artist over there. Went in, had a consult with him, told him what I wanted, talked about cost and time. And I told him, said, hey, this needs to be a vegan process, and I was getting ready to kind of like talk about what that means. And he was, that's great. It turns out that shop is actually a vegan shop anyway. They all of their stuff is automatically vegan. They just follow that process. It was definitely different. I've had friends and family. I've asked them, how does it feel like to get a tattoo? And I've had different answers. I understand why. It's such a different feeling than you can't explain it. It's like, oh, it feels like sandpaper on your skin, or it feels like little tiny bee stings, and it's such an obscure feeling. I think it also depends on what you're getting. Like I'm getting a full like filled in sleeve. There's like almost no skin showing. The mountains have skin showing, but everything else is completely filled in. So it's a lot of like tiny little stars, and a lot of filled in with blues and purples and reds and blacks and things like that. Green. It's very bright in my love. Again, I'll throw a picture up in the show notes. But that would surprise me, because usually you have to go through the process of what vegan means and why it's not vegan, things like that. So I want to kind of help you if you had a tattoo and you didn't know to ask about it being vegan, or you are looking to get one and unsure how to go about the process. Okay, so I would like to kind of walk you through the process of going into the shop, telling them what's going on, and getting what you need. So always do a consult with an artist. Go pick your artist. It's on you forever. Pick the artist that has the style, and it maybe has even done the type of tattoo you want. If you want a sloth, find someone who's done sloths or animals before, so you know that's someone who can do what you want and do it very well. These are artists. It's on you forever. Pick a good artist. Have a consult. Let them know what you want. Get your hours figured out, and then let them know that you need to follow a vegan process. They may ask you, well, what about it's not vegan? We'll go into that in a second. But the artist wants you. The only thing to remember is that you're paying the artist for the work, and they want to be proud of their work, and they want you to be proud of the work they've done for you. So it's not a negative thing to bring up how you want things done. It shouldn't. It's going to be maybe a bit uncomfortable for you, but you kind of need to kind of own it. It's on you forever. Let's go. I want to go through the products and different things, the process you're gonna have to ask about. So obviously the first thing you're gonna have to check up for is the ink. A lot of tattoo inks aren't vegan. Some of the popular ones aren't vegan because they may have bone char, glycerin, which is an animal fat, gelatin. Again, it's the material that hooves also holds skin on and things like that, and shellac, which is crushed up beetles. That can be in some inks. One popular ink brand is it's Mom's Nuclear or Mom's Millennium. It depends on if it's made by Mom's, but they make those two types of inks. Those are not vegan. However, Eternal, Intenze, which is what my artist uses, and Kuro Sumi, I may be pronouncing that incorrectly. Those are very popular brands, and they actually tout that they're a vegan company. They're vegan inks. So you can be if your artist is using one of those three, Eternal, Intenze, Entenze, or Kuro Sumi, you can be fairly confident they're using a vegan ink. If your artist isn't sure, ask if ask them if they'll buy some. Some artists, especially if you're paying pay for a high dollar tattoo, some artists are like open. Yeah, let's talk about what colors we need, and then they'll do the research and get it for you. Some will ask you to buy it yourself. And that's something you talk to your artist about. Maybe you can work on, like, if you're buying the inks, maybe you can negotiate lower cost because you're actually buying some of the supplies. Some may not do that. Someone may actually would, and most artists I'm sure would rather buy the inks themselves, so they have that on hand for future clientele who may have the same requirements, and it's also going to may get them to replace their current ones. Because I've always found people who've used a vegan ink in their skin, it tends to keep its color better and heal a little better. I had friends who have had both, who have mentioned, like, oh yeah, the ink, make sure it was vegan. It just looks so much better and feels so much better and it heals great. So that's the main thing. If your artist may not be vegan, if you find a vegan artist, great. But no, not vegan. Don't expect your artist to know everything about this. That's not what their expertise is. That's something that you need to bring to the table and help educate them. And you may have to go bring your own inks in. Again, talk to your artist about what colors they're going to need, and what they prefer. There may be something they prefer with a certain ink, and work together on it. And again, you're going to be sitting there for hours on end. You're working as a team. They want their work to look great. You want the work to work great, and they want you to be happy with the end result. Working together, we're going to get you the best result when it comes to your inks, and you're also going to make sure you're getting injected with a non-animal based ink. Something else that's important, depending on what you're getting, is your transfer paper. Some transfer papers do contain lanolin, which is a sheep's wool, and they also may have oils or waxes, like a beeswax on them, or some other oil that's animal derived. So it's again, you always check with your artist. Your artist may be using something that's vegan already. There is a company called RepoFX. They have a brand called Spirit Vegan Thermal Transfer Paper. And I guess my artist, I was like, your transfer paper is vegan. There's no lanolin. He's like, no, we make sure all of our products are vegan, so we don't have a problem with that. And again, don't hesitate asking your artist what they use. If you are unsure, and they might be unsure because they don't know, maybe not a question they get all the time. Just let them know, okay, I'm gonna buy the transfer. You said, well, do you want to buy the transfer paper? Or do you want me to? And again, like, okay, well, then again, maybe negotiate some cost on there because you're having to fit the bill. But these transfer papers are relatively cheap compared to the overall cost. One thing that's not thought of a lot is shaving. You're going to get shaved. It's very weird to have one shave you for the first time you've had that experience. Of course, I just had my forearm shaved. It's weird having a guy kind of shave my arm. Of course, you can shave beforehand if you want. The reason shaving is an issue is there's two things really. So the first thing is the razor. A lot of the cheap disposable razors use glycerin for the little moisture strip on them, and that's derived from animal fat, as I said before. So ask about them, like, hey, what razors do you use? So you can look them up, or say, just, ask if they're vegan, or ask, can you look at the razors? Maybe they don't have the moisturizer strip. Some of the really cheap ones don't. So there's a razor part itself, and there's also the soap. The artist will probably use a soap or some sort of soapy substance on your arm when they do the shaving or when they lay down the stencil. Some places use what's called green soap, and it hasn't been confirmed if it's vegan friendly or not. There's conflicting things online. The company's not clear. Ask your shop if they could use a different soap. One thing that most shops are starting to use is Dr. Bronner's. That's what mine use. They usually use the peppermint one. So any of the Dr. Bronner's is fine. It's a vegan company. It's very, very, it's nice on the skin. The hair comes off just fine. It's not abrasive. It's a very, very, very mild soap. It's probably the thing that people wouldn't think about as the shaving and the soap. Because we use soaps all day long, we don't really think about them. And if you shave at home, you're just so used to it. But bring that up. It's the whole process. So once you've checked your ink, you got your inks in, stencils are ready to go. Got you're nice and soaped. You're shaved. You're stenciled. If that's what my guy did freehand, Carlos Fuentes. I'll put a link to his Instagram. Amazing artist. Once you're all got the ink going, all the cups are filled. You're shaved. You're soaped. You're shaved. Got your stencil on. You started the process. Again, if you haven't had tattoo before, it is the most obscure feeling ever. Pain-wise, I didn't really have any pain at all. Like right in the inside the wrist was a little uncomfortable. Up near the inside of the arm is uncomfortable. Everything else is fine. I'm getting the elbow done next. I've been told that can be a little rough. I'm looking forward to it. It's nice to kind of see things. We know in your life, and let's kind of have a moment here together. In your life, things aren't like connecting, and maybe something's not being filled in. You're waiting to hear back about a project or anything like that. Things are kind of like there's holes in your life. Having a tattoo either finished or just pieces filled in on it, sitting there for 3 hours, and somebody just like stab you with needles over and over again, but filling in that space or completing the moon, or doing a piece of it and having that completion just adds something to your life. It's almost therapeutic. It adds something to your life to kind of give it a next step that you wouldn't expect. That's something I didn't think. I'm like, okay, getting a tattoo, I know what I want. Let's just go through the process and get this done. And now I'm like, I just needed something. And I got to a point in my life I was like, I need something to get it completed. And then I walked in there. I was like, and when he finished the second session, I was like, all right, I feel a little bit more whole now. And so it's almost it's a therapeutic experience, and it's almost relaxing to a point, because you're getting the endorphins and everything gets released, and all your body's freaking out because it's getting damaged, and you're hitting that fight or flight, and you're fighting both. And it's an amazing experience, something that you really can't be fully explained unless you're actually sat in the chair. So moving to the next piece is your aftercare. So listen to your artist. Your artist will tell you what they prefer, how they prefer their artwork to be taken care of in the healing process. My artist preferred and worked with me, suggested, was what essentially is called dry healing. And that's where you spend about a week, sometimes 2, depending on your body. A week or 2 just wrapping it. Every 3-4 hours or so, changing saran wrap. It's really saran wrap and tape. So when you leave, your artist should cover. Let me say this again. Your artist should wrap /cover your tattoo. Do not leave a shop unless that is covered. If they put balm, I don't care if they put, cover it up. You have an open wound on your body. Wrap it and cover it before you go out in the public. Just keep it safe. You're ripe for infection at that point. Okay? When you get home, listen to your artist, depending on how far away from your home. Take a couple hours. After a couple hours of being wrapped, you're going to wash it with some nice warm water or something like that. Warm water, not hot, not cold. This is also very important, non-scented antibacterial soap. And there's a lot of vegan. Really, most of us. I mean, I just had some at home. So really, go to Whole Foods. Most of your Whole Foods or any nice health kind of a shop, and Publix carries them too. A non-scented antibacterial soap, very mild. Dr. Bronner's actually would, even if it's scented, Dr. Bronner's would work just fine. A lot of people recommend that as well to wash off. You're going to have blood, you're going to have excess ink, you're going to have plasma, you have a lot of stuff on your arm that's kind of getting gross. I wrap mine back up. I do that every 3 to 4 hours or so, maybe longer than that, depending on how things are looking. I do that, repeat the process. I unwrap it, I wash it with a mild soap, unscented, antibacterial. I don't rub it with a paper towel. I don't rub it with a towel. I get a paper towel and I pat dry. Okay, because you're gonna have excess ink coming off, depending on your tattoo, depending on the color and how filled in it is, how deep it is. Kind of get a little pressure. You're gonna have some ink come off. Okay, every 3 to 4 hours, wrap it again. I do this for about a week, a little longer depending. That's a dry heal. After in that time, it's gonna get a lot of peeling going on. When obviously the initial peel, it has a lot of pieces coming off, which is fine. That's normal. After that process, I stop wrapping, and I use a non-scented, antibacterial, hypoallergenic lotion. Okay. My second session, really about a weekend, it was ready. Jason is a great vegan non-scented antibacterial lotion. I'm using Skinfix. This is actually for eczema, but it's actually the colloidal oatmeal is the active ingredient, and it actually is labeled as a cruelty-free. I'll have a link to Skinfix. Their stuff, it's a little pricey. This is an 8 ounce tube. I've been using it for both sessions, so it's been 3 months I've been using it, and I have a bunch of it left still. Great brand, great company, not a sponsor, just they're lifesaver right now. The Aquafor balm is not vegan by any stretch. Most of the balms you're going to come across aren't vegan. They're going to have a beeswax, they're going to have a lanolin or some other animal-based oil to help moisturize. Again, the three things I recommend is either Jason. I tried that. I had a weird reaction to it. Not that you will. I just personally did. Just how my body, my skin, and how the ink interacts with my skin, and then how all that worked together. Skinfix, which is what I use, and you can also use coconut oil. I didn't smell like coconut oil all day. But if you like coconut oil and it's going to keep a little bit with you as you go throughout your day, you can use that. I put mine on when the tattoo gets dry, starts to get itchy, and it looks like it's kind of starting to get a little damage to it. I make sure I keep it lotioned up. I probably do it 4 or 5 times a day, maybe more than that, depending. You don't want to kind of have too much, especially a little thin amount, just to keep things moisturized, not drying out and damage the tattoo itself. Really, that's it. When you're, after it heals up, like my first session's been healed for a while, I keep the area shaved so it doesn't get kind of blurry from hair. I'll lotion it. I keep it lotioned up. If I go out in the sun, I use I used a vegan sunblock when I was in South Carolina about a month or so ago, and I had a reaction to it. And if you put something on your skin, and the reason I say, just go back up, the reason I say unscented and all that is because there may be a chemical in the scents that will react with the ink. If you put something on your tattoo to moisturize it, to block the sun, anything like that, and it starts to raise up, it gets itchy and starts to agitate you, you're having a reaction. Wash it off. Do not scratch your tattoo. Don't pick at it. Don't rub it really heavily. Things like that. The problem I had is everywhere I had ink, it used like Braille. I washed it off. I went and found Skinfix, and it helped a lot. Listen to your body. Listen to your skin. It will tell you if something is wrong, if something needs to be moisturized. It will tell you if you have an infection, things like that. If you get itchy, don't scratch. Give it a little pat. Here, listen. That's me smacking the moon. The moon is fresh and it itches. So again, I kind of want to review, just to review the process. Always talk to your artist. Let them know the process you want to go through needs to be a vegan process. Let your artist know what that process is. Ink, transfer paper if you need it, the razor, shaving, and soap combo, as well as your aftercare. The inks you want to look out for and use is Eternal, Intenze, and the Kuro Sumi. Those are the popular brands that are all vegan. And if you need a transfer paper, I'll have a link to it in the show notes. RepoFX. It's called Spirit Vegan Thermal Transfer Paper. Really cheap. And most of the stuff your artist will probably be okay getting for their own setup, so they can adjust for people who come in and want to work with them as well. Your razors, shave beforehand. Bring your own razor if you feel comfortable. As far as soap goes, I recommend Dr. Bronner's. You can bring your own. Your artist will have no problem if you bring these things in. It'll make their life easier. It'll make you more comfortable, which that's the main thing. You're sitting there for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. You need to be comfortable, you need to be happy, and you need to feel relaxed through this process. As far as your aftercare goes, Aquafor and a lot of the general balms and moisturizers out there are going to be non-vegan, have lanolin, beeswax, or another animal-based oil in it. I recommend Jason if you prefer to have a lotion like that. I use Skinfix or coconut oil if you're okay smelling like coconut oil all day. So that's it. I would love to see everyone's vegan tattoos. Yeah, seriously, shoot me an email at kirstysveg@gmail.com. Attach a picture of your vegan tattoos. I'm going to make a collage. I'll throw them up on the Facebook page, Instagram, all the social. I'll put it up on our social medias, kind of see what you guys have going on. I'm actually thinking about what to do for my upper left sleeve. So, maybe you guys can be some inspiration for me for like a half sleeve up top there. And so as we come back, I wanted to read a review. Now, this review is interesting, as in it is not it's not a 5-star. I know, I was surprised too, but I'm surprised their computer still works. You figure it would explode. I keep telling you guys, don't get 5 stars, it explodes. But we got 3, and I think it's important to, whenever you get feedback that is not optimal, not what you want, not what you would hope to get, to still read that feedback, listen to that feedback, and try to respond and understand where that person's coming from. So I want to read this one. This is by Discovering Me. It was March 17th. So I'll try to read it without stuttering anything too much. I really want to rate this podcast with a 5, as the guests were great when they finally get to the interviews. The first 20 minutes is mindless, unrelated banter of the hosts. Seriously, a waste of time. I don't tune in to hear that you wait in line at Starbucks or joke about drinking. I turn it down and wait for it to be over. Then the rest is informative and interesting. We really need a good vegan podcast. I think this has a chance. I will keep listening. I hope you read all the reviews and not just the 5-star ones. Well, Discovering Me, I do. I read them off air and I read them on air as well. It's important to read, the non-5-star, the non-pat on the back ones, to let us know what we can do better. As I said at the beginning, very quick intro, new intro music to kind of cut the time down, a little bit about who we are. I went and then going right into the topic again. This one being tattoos. Talk about my experience and what you can experience while you're there, and things to look out for getting your first or your next vegan tattoo. That's something definitely I've taken to heart. I want to make sure we keep it down, keep it short, and get right to the topic, especially when we have a guest on. or even just going right to a topic. I have a few topics lined up, working on guests now, and that's something that I'm definitely keeping to heart and keeping in mind. And I hope you keep listening. I would love to hear discovering me. I'm not sure who you are. If you would like to give me, shoot me an email at curiosityweg@gmail.com. Let me know how this episode was. Is this any better? I know it's just me. Speaking of it just being me, if anyone out there would like to be a guest on the show, you have a book coming out, you have a YouTube channel, you have a really important topic you really want to address and talk about, maybe you want to be a guest host. We can work out a topic together and go back and have a back and forth about it. You want to guest host. Again, curiosityweg@gmail.com. Not Curiosity Radio, curiosityweg@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. Let me know, hey, I want to be a guest. I know somebody who should be a guest. I'll be a guest on the show and talk to you about X, Y, and Z. Love to hear from you. As always, you can go to curiosityvegradio.com. We have a contact link there, links to our social media, as well as a place to help the show out, information how you can just kind of help keep the lights on and keep things moving forward now that we're getting back on track. So you hear from me again in a couple of weeks, and I'll have a whole new topic ready to go just for you. All right. Bye, guys.